Hi, Mindy.
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, fine. It's been a long week. How about
Yeah.
you?
It's been a long fucking life, okay? It's been a long fucking life. I am fucking tired. Like, this is gonna be interesting. It's been a long goddamn day at work. We'll just put it that
hmm
way.
hmm
How about you?
I
Good day
mean,
at
work
work, bad
wasn't
day at work?
work wasn't so bad. It was actually one of those things where my going back to work was like basically going that like taking a break from vacation because my vacation was so
No,
and I know
I'm
you
sorry.
have about the same thoughts with your time off that you had. Um
Yeah.
so just a lot. Just a lot.
Yeah. Well, hi everybody.
Hi.
This is uh this is the Neurodivergent Convergence podcast. We are two neurodivergent best friends who every week come on and talk about our experiences as neurodivergent people in this neurotypical world because we're living in a neurotypical world and we are not neurotypical girls.
Mhm.
So, yeah, here we are. I'm Nikki, and that's Amanda. Say hi, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda. I gotta do that joke every time.
And we're best friends,
hmm
and we love each other very much. And yeah, this is our podcast. Welcome. We're glad you're here. We're glad somebody cares. So we're here for you every
So
Thursday.
so just pop a squat, listen for a
Yep.
while, grab a
Yep.
snack.
Sit down, kids. Grab a
hmm
snack. We're going to talk at you today about lots of things. But per usual, we like to start our shows with a little bit of fun and fuckery. And this week is no exception. Um, do you want to do a little bit of catch up? Talk about your week, talk about your trip, or do you want to roll right into it? Which one do?
yeah, we can do a little catch up. Um,
Sorry for my
yeah,
slurping.
so it's okay. I have my own drink right here, so
Oh, is that a Dunkin'?
it is. It's
Did you get
it's
a Dunkin'? Were you a naughty girl today? It's Monday, isn't it?
well, it's Monday, bonus Monday.
That's all right.
I almost forgot. It was like 3:15. I was like, I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, right.
My
Dunkin'
Dunkin'.
Monday.
I forgotten my
hmm
Dunkin'.
hmm
Yeah, I might call for
Yep.
a beverage delivery here soon. I'm 99.9% sure I have a dog hair stuck in the back of my throat because like
Oh, that's cool.
I can't get it. Like I keep digging in the back of my throat trying not to like kill myself with my fucking dagger nails because I can
hmm
feel it back there and it's been there for like 2 days and it won't fucking go away. No matter what I eat, no matter what I drink, it's fucking there and it won't go away. But anyway, I'm sorry. Tell us about your trip.
Oh, well, so I went to North Carolina um to visit my aunt, my dad's sister. So left on Wednesday about about 11:30. We get there about 9 p.m. Um trip was fine. It's just my dad is a lot to travel with and he hasn't flown in 19 years.
Oh,
So,
Jesus. A lot has
yes.
changed in 19 years.
Yeah. And so it was just a lot to basically help him with, which is fine, but my dad can grumble with the best of them, basically. So I don't want to get too into it, but basically we got there at 9 p.m. on Wednesday. Thursday was Thanksgiving. So my aunt has like 40 to 50 people show up for Thanksgiving like throughout the
Ugh.
day. So it's just a lot of people that I didn't know. So
Yeah.
so basically long story short, my um dad's sister was given up for adoption for basically a long story. Um he my dad is 6 years older than her,
Okay.
and so they actually reconnected or found out about each other in 2015.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's why I don't know really anyway. I've only been to her house once. um I don't even remember if I met her kids, basically my first cousins. um I don't even remember if I met them the last time. I might have met one of them. Like I'm older. Me and she has an older son and then twins that I'm a year older than.
Okay.
So we're about the same age.
Well, that's cool.
So I did get to meet them, but like I said, I didn't grow up with these people, so it's kind of like hard for me to like to me they're just strangers. So
Right.
it's like, yeah, I'm related to them, but they're just strangers. And so try my best to engage as much as possible. Um, but it's just hard when you have like 40 other people in the house, like I
For
said, that
sure.
you know nothing about. And um so that was fine, hung out Friday, there's less of us, and then flew home, got up at 5:30 a.m. her
Yep.
time, 4:30 a.m. my time. Got, because she lives about 2.5 hours away from the airport. So we drove to the airport, and like I told you, I got to drive a newer car. My car is 2005, so I got to drive a new car. I'm like, this is what it's like to have a car with zip to it. So
With
drove
some get up and
around.
go.
Yeah, drove around Charlotte, and Charlotte Airport, and that was kind of fun actually. But then just traveling, and then drove back, and then we live an hour from the airport I flew into, and so it was a long ass day, long ass 4 days.
Yeah.
Um, I'm almost was like, and so we were supposed to record yesterday, and I asked Nikki, I'm like, can I don't have the brain capacity to do this,
Yeah.
so can we wait till tomorrow? And I knew you probably were also still recovering from your trip. So how was your trip? Because we haven't spoken or really catch up since then.
Yeah. I mean, it was good for the most part, as good as a visit with my family can be. Probably one of the better visits we've had. It was nice to see my grandparents. I adored the time that I got with my niece, and I miss my brother dearly. So I got to see him, and that was great. The kids had a really good time. Noah did great with travel. I was really surprised. I thought we were going to have a lot of meltdowns, a lot of dysregulation going on, and there was a little bit, but he was so good with the whole thing. Like I was just fully prepared to have a lot of, you know, a lot of issues, sensory issues and whatnot, and just not being in his own space. But he did amazingly, which I was just so proud of him. He has been a little bit dysregulated since we got home, which I assumed would happen because, he's back in his own space so he can kind of decompress and let it all out. But I kind of have been too. Like, I feel like I performed well, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
performed well while I was there and kept a really level head and stayed cool, even when my mom said some things I didn't really love a couple times. And, we were able to, I was able to politely just be like, you're stepping on a boundary. Can we not? And move forward, which was nice. And so when I got home, it took me a little while to just sort of decompress. I had a small meltdown ish on the way home from the airport because we did not have time to stop or eat really anything other than airplane snacks the entire time we were traveling. So I had eaten breakfast that morning at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then didn't have anything else to eat again until like 6, 7:30 at night.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really fucking hungry other than snacks, like little snacks, but like no meal. And the kids hadn't either because we just the way our flights were planned out, like we had no time in between our connecting flights to stop and get anything. And we got on the way to the airport, we left in plenty of time, but Lila, my niece, got sick in the car and threw up. So we had to pull over and like change her. And then there was a lot of traffic. So we got stuck and like we made it to the airport with like 35 minutes left before we boarded. So like it was a lot, but we did it. And small meltdown in the car. I don't like arm flap very often, but
Mm-hmm.
like when I got in the car and we were almost home, I just looked at Jordan and I was like, I need McDonald's, but not any McDonald's. Well, he's like, we can just stop in Litchfield on the way. And I was like, no, it has to be from my McDonald's, like the one that I always go to. Like, I need my McDonald's. I was like, please just don't even question it. I just need my McDonald's from the people that I know make my food the way I want it. There's one McDonald's that never fucks up my shit, and I just need my McDonald's in the town that I always go to get it, and then I will be okay. And he was like, okay, done deal, right? Like, he doesn't even question it anymore. And like when we got to like where I could see the McDonald's, I did a happy flap. I was like, oh my God. Like, I did a happy flap and I like couldn't help it. It just like overtook my body. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I need my food. Like, I was so happy flappy by the time we got to McDonald's. Like, it was so needed. Like, I could just feel every ounce of sensory like overload just exiting my body in that moment. So, and if you got, you'll get it. If you get it, you get it, right? Like, if you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, you probably don't got the tism. So it's whatever. But I don't know. I needed to be home. I had a good time, but I needed my own space back. So
yeah, it's kind of like when I got back, I had driven to my dad's and left my car at his house, and then we drove his truck to the airport. And so I drove back to my mom's because I live in the same town. So I drove back to my mom's and was going to stay the night there because I needed help with some stuff. But I think she understood that, like, even though I hadn't really talked to her while I was gone, besides like saying like, you know, happy Thanksgiving, I think she understood that, like, because she knows my dad. So she's like, she understood that I kind of needed to decompress.
yeah.
So normally, like, we'll watch stuff together that either she recorded or is something that's on streaming, but she kind of like just let me put something on YouTube. I was like, I don't want to think right now. I don't have to pay attention to any plot, so I'm just gonna put random videos on YouTube on. And she didn't even question it. She's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I can't. I was like, I don't really have the capacity. Or she would like ask me like about dinner. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I
Yeah.
just can't anymore. Like, and like you, like, I was at the like what I the time I spent with people was fine. It's just, like I said, there's a lot of people, so there was a room that we were staying in my aunt's house, and so when it got too much, I just kind of like took my phone and put my headphones in and kind of just like laid in the room and just like did random shit on my phone for like an hour.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like, I can't. Or like whenever I was booking our hotel for next month, I just kind of just like hid in the room for like 30-45 minutes at one point, and then my dad came in to check on me. And he's like, I'm taking everything goes okay. And I was like, yeah, I was just booking the hotel, even though I booked it like 30 minutes prior to me saying that.
No, I'm just hiding. But I don't want to tell you that.
I want to tell you that because I just can't.
Just needed a sensory break.
Especially because like there's just so much talking and so much like people playing, like people being on FaceTime on speakerphone and people playing YouTube music and stuff. I'm like, I can't. I just can't.
Too many sounds at once.
Yep, just had to go hide. So
I get it.
well.
I get it.
So, but
I get it.
I just needed yesterday to basically just do fuck all. I think I slept like 12 hours. So, and then of course couldn't sleep last night because I slept 12 hours. So I got 4 hours sleep last night. So that's where we're at, and that's why I have Duncan. So yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. It's there's a lot to be said for like recovery time with travel and with peopling. Like, we've kind of talked about it before. Like, oh shit, lost an earbud. Hold please. I love my people and I loved being there and I had so much fun, but like I just have a limit and I need my own space back after a while. So so yeah, so it was good overall, but definitely was happy to be home. I think that's all I really have to say about that. What about you?
That's all I have to say about that.
Okay. Well,
Well,
suppose we ought to start the show.
Yep.
Okay.
You want to do AI story or Mad Lib first?
Yeah, let's do AI story because I'm excited about this one, y'all. I'm excited. As promised last week, we have a new character to introduce to you this week in our AI story. I would love for y'all to just pull up a chair, grab yourself a little snack, go on and get you them subtitles. Linked in the show notes for you. Or if you're watching the pinned comment, because I submitted for us to have clout for linkable shit in our description box, but I don't know if we actually got it yet because I haven't looked. So for sure, the pinned comment if you're watching on YouTube. Otherwise, show notes wherever you show note. I would like for y'all to buckle up and listen because we got a new story in the Chronicles of Jeremy and Friends.
Hold on to your butts.
Hold on to your booties. Here you go. Ready? Okay. This is the sentence I gave the lovely AI over at InforKit, not Spencer. Okay, here we go. Jeremy, the psychic cat, and the unicorn were absolutely exhausted. So much has happened in this quest to find new magic. They needed to take some time to sort it all out in their heads, so they decided to stop at a pub for a bite to eat and some much-needed rest. Little did they know that at this pub, they would meet yet another important companion on their travels to come. Finnegan, the fainting goat. That is what I gave the AI, and this is where we go. Okay. At first, Jeremy didn't recognize the goat as he found him weird. He was big and had horns and woolly white hair. As they were talking, Jeremy could sense something about this goat that struck him as odd. This goat appeared to be telling Jeremy stories, a strange type of magical stories that he couldn't understand. Jeremy and the unicorn spent the rest of the evening listening to all the stories the goat told them about some creatures that lived under the pub and another magical beast that only lived on the bridge. Could that be a troll? Trolls and goats and things. Pause.
Pay the troll toll.
Sorry, that was a burp. Burp pause. Continuing on. This brief encounter began a friendship between Jeremy and Finnegan that would continue throughout their journey. The stories Finnegan told of the stories of ancient times reminded the unicorn of one of his own history books. Jeremy and the unicorn decided to visit the local library and have a look around to see if they could find this strange goat's storybooks to better understand the unicorn's friend. At the library, they discovered that Finnegan and his tribe only seemed to know tales of ancient times and far-off lands. They also discovered that Finnegan also claimed he could talk to his cat friend, a cat that had come to his cottage one day and had taken up residence. Since then, the cat would be seen pacing around the walls of his house each night, waiting for Finnegan to come home. At the library, they learned that Finnegan's cat, Binky, was indeed a wondrous beast, the most powerful magical creature known. Binky's favorite pastime was going on adventures in the ancient night. He would go out on the evening walks with Finnegan and would bring back magic balls for the fainting goat to use in his quests. When Binky gave him the balls, Finnegan would have to find a way to transform them into magical items to help them along their adventures. Jeremy and the unicorn also learned that Finnegan has been on several magical quests with his cat Binky. Unfortunately, they were unsuccessful in bringing back any magical objects to help them on their quest to a new magic. Wow, we were doing so good. And then I done fuckered it up. Okay. Because of this, Finnegan decided to turn to more ancient magical techniques. The unicorn and Jeremy soon discovered that their friend was that their friend was beginning to take on some weird animal qualities. In the end, they learned that Finnegan is actually a spirit of an ancient feline warrior. The unicorn and the fainting goat agreed to help Jeremy on his quest for another magical item. They would gather his friends and help them on their adventure to find a magical god. Okay, we have stumbled on to the stumbling of the words. I was doing so well. We're going to try that again. The unicorn and the fainting goat agreed to help Jeremy on his quest for another magical item. They would gather his friends and help them on their adventure to find a magical golden statue. It was his feline friend who had been waiting for his master to return and was now out on his own. Jeremy and the unicorn asked for Finnegan and Binky to join them on their adventure. They would meet up with them after their quest was complete. They all embarked on their new journey together, journeying to a land known only to the unicorn. With Finnegan's help, the unicorn and Jeremy would locate the golden statue and return it to their friend and one day save the world. The end. That last bit must have been like pasted in the middle of our last bit of the story. So there was a little bit more, but it didn't belong there. Okay, the end.
The end.
The end. That's where we're at. I'm excited to flesh out Finnegan's character. Are you?
Yes.
Because I feel like this is going to be fun. Because I have so many things that I want Finnegan to do. So many ideas for Finnegan. And I'm super excited.
Goats. Fainting goats are hilarious.
Yes. So Finnegan, about to get real. This is just the introduction. Okay. Finnegan's about to steal the show. We thought this was about Jeremy. I think this is going to be a lot about Jeremy and Finnegan. Like we finna make a partnership unlike any other. They're about to be me and you is what they're about to be. Like they're about to join forces and create beautiful fucking magic together. So it's about to go down. So y'all just stay tuned because we have so much more for you in store.
Bunch of fuckery going on.
But it's here. They are so here for it. It's about to be the best friendship in the whole damn world. We're about to get it. It's about to be the best story ever told. That's where I'm at. I'm just excited about it. Finnegan is just, he is another gift from the gods, much like Jeremy was.
Thank you, AI.
Thank you, AI, for Finnegan. No, that was all us. Finnegan was all us because we were talking about you being a fainting goat. Remember, you brought it up at the end last week. You were like, it's like a fainting goat when you get scared and you freeze up. And we're like, yeah, if you ever see Amanda just freeze up and fall off frame, it's because she fainting goated on us. So, and then I was like, we should have a fainting goat in the AI story, Finnegan the fainting goat. So that was our own thought form. AI did not give us that. So anyway, we have a Mad Lib, folks. Amanda, I need words from you.
Okay, and we're changing one of them to suit the story, but okay. Go ahead.
Okay, ma'am.
Oh, and we are still in our Pokemon Mad Lib.
Yes, we are still in our Pokemon Mad Lib. I will tell you the title of the story in a minute. But for now, Amanda, I need an adjective from you, please.
Unnerving.
Ooh. Okay. How about a noun?
Hot Mess Express.
That is a noun. Verb ending in ing.
I gotta do it at least once. Fucking.
Okay. Read ahead. Don't read ahead, Nicole. Don't read ahead. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. Adjective.
Goddamn.
This is gonna be good. Goddamned. Goddamn. Okay. Adverb.
Unjustly.
Oh no. Okay, that's bad. Plural noun.
It was turtles, but now I changed it to fainting goats.
Okay. Okay. Another plural noun.
Tramps. Like Lady and the Tramp. Or Tramp Stamp. Tramps.
Okay. Another plural noun. Damn.
Asses.
Okay. Adjective.
Obnoxious.
That's an M, not an N. Lord Jesus. Okay. Verb.
Kill.
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 Okay. Another verb.
Embrace.
Okay. We're killing, then we're embracing. Okay.
Yep.
A noun.
It's a toxic relationship. White windowless van.
Windowless van. Okay. Adverb.
Shittily.
Fiddly.
Shittily.
Shittily. Okay. Celebrity.
Because I watched the Doctor Who special, David Tennant.
Oh no. Don't bring him into this.
I think he would enjoy it. He's weird.
He probably would, but that's just rude. He's actually the good one. Okay. We're about to ruin this poor man's life. Okay. Adjective.
Sexy.
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 Okay. Another adjective.
Ill reputable.
And then finally, another plural noun.
Hemorrhoids. It was hernias, but I just all of a sudden thought of hemorrhoids. That's funnier.
Yes, it is actually. Okay. Oh boy, guys. This is going to be difficult to read, so just hang on. It's bad.
What's the title, though?
It's so bad. Okay. The title is Travel Guide to the Alola Region. Okay. We're going to go slow because it's going to be a lot of laughs. But yawn counter number 1. Hey, we were pretty far in before I yawn this time. Pretty far in. We're doing great. Okay. Ready? Here we go. Thank you for visiting the unnerving Alola region, a hot mess express that has something for everyone. It's not a nearby region, but it's perfect for relaxing in the sun or fucking new Pokemon. Told you.
No.
I told you it's bad.
I'm sorry, Pokemon.
Okay. Alola is a group of tropical goddamn islands where humans and Pokemon live unjustly together. Goddamn islands. Okay. In fact, all fainting goats of transportation are powered by Pokemon. Alola is home to the Pokemon School, a place where Pokemon and tramps study together. Surrounded by slides, a race course, pools, the ocean, and asses, there's always something obnoxious to do or kill.
Oh no.
So if you are here to embrace Pokemon, you have a hard, white windowless van ahead of you. A grand trial is shittily difficult. Usually, you have to face an island kahuna, such as David Tennant, which is never sexy. We hope you enjoy your stay in the Alola region, where ill-reputable sights and difficult hemorrhoids await. The end.
The end. Isn't the Alola region like basically Hawaii in Pokemon? Like
Oh, fucking hell. Relaxing in the sun or fucking new Pokemon. This is so terrible. God. Oh.
I'm sorry, Pokemon.
Oh, God. Okay. That's enough. That was a good one. That was a really good one. Bad, but good at the same time.
It's always funny, though.
Yes, they are funny when they're terrible. I will say that much. It makes it funnier. Okay, folks. Well, as you saw by the title, we are in part 2 of our What is Autism series this week. We are going to sort of touch lightly on what we know, what science knows about the causes of autism, and then mainly what the myths are around what causes autism, and what, like, the whole, is there a cure? Should there be a cure? We're going to kind of talk about it in this one. And then, of course, weigh in with our opinions on such. So I found a couple of things. I'm probably not going to screen share much, but I will link these because a lot of the stuff that I found is actually not based in the US. It's not US information, which I don't really care. It's not a big deal. It's just something I wanted to note. But it seems like there's a lot more in-depth information outside of US based sources for some reason, which I just found interesting. So we're going to start with a Scottish website that I found. It's called differentminds.scot, SCOT. And this is a little like autism fact versus fiction page. But actually, I lied. Before we go there, I'm going to start at the National Autistic Society. Amanda, did I give you that link? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so we're actually going to start there because I want to start with like the causes of autism, right? Because there is no myths without like this bit first. So we're going to start here. According to this website, this is autism.org.uk, National Autistic Society. This says the causes of autism are still being looked into. Many experts believe that there isn't one specific cause and that there are genetic factors. We are always looking to understand more about autism and welcome any research in this area. And then this says possible causes. Evidence suggests that autism may be genetic. Scientists have been attempting to identify which genes might be implicated in autism for some years. Autism is likely to have multiple genes responsible rather than a single gene. However, it is not caused by emotional deprivation or the way a person has been brought up. There is no link between autism and vaccines. Much research has been devoted to this issue over the years, and the results have comprehensively shown that there is no link. And then it says find out more on the NHS website. So, and then this goes into like the whole cure stuff.
So basically, like the last sentence of the first paragraph, it's like it is not caused by emotional deprivation or the way a person's been brought up. Basically, the whole like nature versus nurture thing. Like, correct. You don't just basically if you treat someone as if they have autism, they're not going to just develop autism like correct. If they don't have it. So
yeah. So with that being said, we've sort of mentioned it before, and I said it last week. On 2, here we go. It's fucking
it's 3 actually.
Is it 3?
It's 3 actually. Yeah.
Because there was a burp before. Okay, it's 3. I believe you. I don't know. I missed several of them last episode, so it's fine. What was I saying? God damn it. The yawn killed my brain. Help.
You said something like we said last time. I don't know where your thought process was going.
Oh, you're born with it. You're born with it. Mm-hmm. There we go. That's what I was trying to say.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Maybe it's Maybelline, or maybe you're born with it.
Maybe it's autism.
Yeah, maybe it's autism. So yes, you are born with it. Whether it's genetic, whether, whatever, they don't quite know. They're still trying to figure this all out scientifically. However, you're born with it. So I'm going to pop over to this differentminds.scot where I was trying to start first. So the very first thing that shows up in this autism fact versus fiction bit of this site, it says myth: autism is a mental health condition. This says not true. autism is actually a neurological difference. MRI scans show distinctions in the ways that autistic and non-autistic brains receive and process information. However, many autistic people do develop mental health problems. Approximately 40% of autists have at least one anxiety disorder, and the proportion of those who experience depression is higher amongst autistic people. Mental health issues and anxiety are not inherent in autistic people and can often stem from a lack of understanding, feeling pressure to fit into normal life. Whilst autism is an intrinsic part of who a person is, depression, for example, is no more a part of an autistic person's personality than it would be for a non-autistic person. And then they have a source.
Cause and effect. Cause and effect.
Correct. They cite a source, the Royal College of Psychiatrists. So it's not just someone saying something. There is actually a source for this as well. So again, I'll have all this linked. You can go rabbit hole that. God damn it. You want to. So annoying. Okay. Maybe you need to read a little more. Do you want to go to the next block?
Oh, the myth.
Yeah, the next myth.
Okay.
Or actually, do you want to weigh in on that?
About the whole depression being and like anxiety being part of that? Or...
Yeah, about this whole that it's not actually, we kind of joke that like we have a cocktail of mental health conditions, right? And it's part of what we say a lot because it's just a joke. But like this is saying it's not technically classified as a mental health condition, which actually I thought it was. So I'm surprised that it's not. It's not considered a mental health because the way it's talked about, it seems like
it's like a neurodevelopmental thing. It's
right. But I feel like how it's talked about most often is that it's some version of a mental health condition. It's at least how I've always categorized it in my brain, even though I know it's like how your brain develops. Still, for whatever reason in my brain, it was like, oh, it's like a mental health kind of thing. But I guess that's obviously wrong. How do you feel about it?
It's kind of like the whole, like all neurological issues are, or I'm trying to think how I want to phrase this. It's kind of like saying all mental health issues are neurological, but not all neurological things are mental health issues. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
It has to do with your brain. Yeah. Because, mental, neurological, brain stuff.
Right.
Smart words.
Smart things.
And like the whole like logic puzzle thing. Logic.
Right.
But words. But the it makes sense. Like the whole, like autistic people might have a higher chance of having depression or anxiety or both than non-autistic people.
Right.
Which makes sense. It's also kind of like the whole, a lot of people, like a lot of adults get, especially like women, get later in life diagnoses of autism or ADHD when the whole time they just thought they were depressed and anxious.
Correct.
So because it's like they don't understand, like even my psychiatrist that prescribes my ADHD medication, she said that the reason why ADHD medication helps with depression, anxiety, it's because it's taking that pressure off your brain, basically. Like,
right.
Like, why am I so like? Basically, it's like quote unquote fixing what you thought was just inherently wrong with you, for lack of a better term. Because it's like you go through life thinking, well, there's just something wrong with me. I don't know what it is. There's just something wrong with me. And I can tell I'm different, but I don't know why. And that causes, depression, anxiety in somebody. So that does make sense. It's like, so a lot of times that when people take, like get treatment for ADHD or autism, it often helps with whatever mental health issues they may or may not have. Now, it's not to say that like all autistic people have depression, anxiety, like, or all people with depression or anxiety are autistic. That's obviously not what they're saying. But it's like the whole cause and effect thing. Like if you go through life thinking that there is something inherently different about you and you don't know why, then obviously that might cause issues like mentally. So
if you go through life thinking you're a fucked up horse and not a normal zebra, that's going to do some things to you. right? Mental health
Exactly.
wise, it's going to cause mental health problems for sure. Then you find out you're a normal zebra, not a fucked up horse, and things start to get better mental health wise. That's how that works. So,
right. Because like I even told my psychiatrist when she was asking me, like after a couple months of taking my ADHD medication, she's like, how's it helping with your, depression, anxiety? And I told her, I'm like, well, it hasn't, completely gone away, but
right.
like stuff has happened to me like in the past few months that if I wasn't on this medication, I would have had a complete like fucking meltdown. Like I would have gotten to such a, like a deep depression or like a panic attack if I wasn't on this medication, just based on like random things that have happened, even those basic shit. So I can tell it helps because it's like it's taking the mental load off of that sort of thing and just helping me overall. So let's move on to the next one. So it says myth: autism mainly affects young children. False. Neither age, cue Dwight Schrute. False. Neither age, gender, nor ethnicity matter. People are born autistic. Some autistic people don't get a diagnosis until adulthood, but they still have been autistic their whole lives. Many autistic adults try to hide their autism as they feel they can't be the real version of themselves for fear of judgment and lack of understanding. And it said, find out more about masking.
Yeah.
Which, a lot of truth to that.
For sure. I mean, I feel like that's pretty straightforward. I don't have a lot to sort of elaborate on. We've talked about this before that, it's not just the weird boy in the classroom who likes dinosaurs a little too much at age 14. Do you know what I mean? Like this is stuff that has gone unnoticed widely, and a lot of people, not just girls, but especially girls and the quote unquote higher masking, higher functioning, whatever language you want to put around that, which that'll be its own episode. It's something that does go unnoticed. And we do find a lot of women being diagnosed, like you said, in their adulthood because we were sort of conditioned to behave a certain way, or we might be a little bit more, certain people are a little bit more observant than others and learn what seems to be socially acceptable and then can replicate that. So that's where masking comes in, is you learn what looks quote unquote normal and you figure out how to behave like that, but it's not really who you are and it's not really what you want to do. And as someone who masked my way through my entire life and never quite could find who I really was or what I really wanted, when in 2020, when everything sort of fell apart, you didn't yet know that that's what was happening. I didn't know that like my mask had fallen off and like I wasn't able to do it anymore. But like looking back now, I can see that like when my life fell apart during that time, it was because I was trying so hard to be this person that I wasn't, and I just fucking couldn't do it anymore. And it blew my whole goddamn world up. So there is a consequence to being someone who is high masking. Like you can mask a little too fucking hard and completely lose who you are as a person. So it's a necessary evil, I feel, but it's also dangerous to do for long periods of time. It takes a lot out of you to do it for short or long periods of time, but it literally, it almost ruined my whole life. So that's a story probably for another day, but that was intense. But I'll read. I mean, unless, do you want to weigh in on it? Sorry, I was just going to move on, but I didn't ask if you wanted to weigh in on it.
No, it kind of like it's kind of combining both these two myths, like the whole women getting later diagnosed, like, or getting less diagnosed as men or boys. It's kind of like the whole, like women, and this could be its own episode, like women are twice as likely, I think, to be diagnosed with depression. Yeah. And it's not to say that like it's because all those women, instead of being depressed, they should have been diagnosed as autistic. That's not what I'm saying. Right. It's more like women are like, and I'm not saying men don't have pressures, like men are supposed to be like the whole toxic masculinity thing, and the whole what it's fighting against is men should be allowed to show their emotions besides
Right.
anger. Like there's more emotion than anger or lust.
Right.
You know, that's the only two acceptable emotions men are allowed to feel in society, which is terrible. And because
Yeah.
men, even though men are actually have a higher chance of committing suicide, because they're it's seen as weak to be depressed, like to be diagnosed as depressed or anxious. Um, so the whole women are less likely to be diagnosed as autistic because it's like, or have ADHD. It's because it's like, well, that's not like, that's not a thing that women really have. So you're just depressed. You're just
Right.
anxious. So instead of that's the whole like that's another whole like rabbit hole to go into.
Yeah.
But I can read this next one if you want.
Sure.
You've done a lot of reading today. Okay. Myth. Everyone's a little autistic.
Ugh.
Uh yeah, not it says not true. This is a common misconception. Some people have autistic characteristics, example being hyper focused or rigid in routines, but that doesn't make them autistic. Autism is about how the brain works, how you think and communicate, how you process information, differences in sensory experiences. Autistic and non-autistic people share many of the same characteristics, but autistic people see and experience the world in a fundamentally different way. Basically, yeah, it's like the whole, well, everyone feels that way. It's like, or when you tell someone like the whole depression thing again, it's like, well, everyone gets sad.
Yeah.
Like, are you sure you have depression? Or you might just be sad. It's like or like ADHD thing. It's like, oh, you have memory
Everyone
issues. Well, everyone
forgets
forgets stuff.
things.
Everyone
Yeah.
forgets things. It's like, okay, but it's like consistently forgetting things. It's not like a once in a while thing
Hmm.
for just in general, like whatever it may be. It's not like once in a while thing. This is a consistent basis that happens to me all the fucking time.
Right.
So I think it's kind of like oh, I had a good analogy for this, but um like if you have one bad day, say one bad day a month, okay, I don't think you're depressed. But if you have like what seems to be a bad day a few times a week, then that might be saying something.
Right. Like, I literally cannot roll my eyes hard enough at this fucking
Mm-hmm.
statement. I'm so sick of hearing this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is not a little bit autistic. Everyone is not a little bit ADHD. These are legitimate differences in the physiological makeup of the brain, right? Like, it's not just, oh, I'm just different and awkward and weird. My brain is legitimately different from somebody's that is not autistic, like provable with MRIs.
Yeah.
So don't tell me everybody is a little bit autistic. And I understand that that's not super widely known. So, like, I don't get like super pissy with people when I hear this statement, but I also don't feel like there's a lot of room available to really discuss that in a healthy way, because a lot of people who are saying things like that are doing so to dismiss you. So, like, the person who says that's not probably someone you want to try to educate in that moment anyway, because they're not going to
Mm-hmm.
listen.
Right.
So it's kind of a shitty double-sided sword there, because it's like it's not really worth wasting your time to educate that person unless you feel like they're willing to listen to you. But
It's kind of like not that I'm comparing autism to cancer, but it's kind of like if you
right.
tell someone with cancer, well, everyone feels sick once in a while.
Exactly.
If
Like,
everyone feels sick once in a while, that's
yeah, sure, everyone
nothing.
feels sick once in a while, but not everybody's cells are mutating in a way
Or
in which
literally,
is
or
killing
literally, your
them.
body's attacking you. Like
Right.
your body's literally killing itself.
Correct. So fuck off. Like, that's a general good way to approach that. No, I'm just kidding. Please don't do that. But I just hate this. I just hate this statement so much. But it is really difficult to like really talk to anybody about it, because most people who say this shit are just being dismissive of you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
um it's I had a good like analogy for this too at one point in my brain, and then it left me, but this is I don't know, it's just annoying. But that's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm going to say about that. um we can move on. I'm sure it'll come to me at some point, but it was something good I was going to say, and I was trying not to interrupt you with it, and then it left my
No, you're
brain.
fine.
So, I'll read the next one. Uh, Myth: all autistic people have a learning disability. False. This is not true. Current research shows that over 2/3 of autistic people don't have learning disabilities or learning difficulties. However, many autistic people do have learning differences, a different way of learning, and this shouldn't be viewed as a negative. It might mean a greater ability to read as a young child or a way to identify patterns more easily. Like everybody else, autistic individuals are just that, individuals. Some might require extra support, educational, employment, or emotional, but this differs from person to person, just like non autistic people.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like this is something that has been a massive misconception in my own personal life, because this whole thing started with my kids. And we got so much pushback with my oldest as far as like support at school goes, because he's got good grades. And this current school that we're in, we don't have this problem. But when he was first in school, in the first town we lived in, um, I was very irritated with the administration because they refused, almost outright refused, which is not even legal, to evaluate him for an IEP because he got too good of grades. Mind you, the child was in fucking kindergarten. So, like, what does that even fucking mean in kindergarten? Right? Like, what
Right.
kind of grades are you getting in kindergarten? Um, Also,
You napped really well, like counted to 10 fine. It's like
right.
what kind of
So like he actually was a kid. And we didn't even realize autism might be something he was dealing with, to be honest with you, because until he was around 3.5 or 4. He wasn't even evaluated and diagnosed until he was 4, because he had early speech. If you remember, he was babbling 2 and 3 word sentences well before he was a year old. Like, well before. He was saying mama and baba and all dada and all sorts of things at like between 6 and 9 months of age. So he had really early everything other than gross motor and fine motor. So like those were the delayed things. He was I wouldn't, it's not super delayed, but he wasn't really steadily walking, but until about 13 or 14 months old. So just a little after he was a year old, which most kids are toddling around about that age, but he was on a little bit of the later end of that. And then we started noticing like the more social and emotional things. He was a very like personable kid, he loved everybody, but he didn't quite understand, like when he first started going to pre-K, he didn't quite understand what to do with all those other kids. And then we started seeing things pop up there, and conflict resolution started to become a big thing. Like there were a lot of tantrums that started then. And then we noticed a bunch of
yeah.
sensory issues start to come up. And it's like, that's about the time you start to notice, because the way that he handles things is much different from the way that every other kid his age was handling things. So,
Yeah, I remember one very distinct thing. I don't remember exactly how old he was. I want to say like 3 or 4, but you were at my house with him. I would say he was like 3, but it had just rained, and so like my porch was wet, and
yeah.
he wanted to go down my steps on his butt, like just slide down I'm like, no, it's wet, you don't want to do that. And so I picked him up and was trying to like pick him up to like take him down the stairs to like stop him from doing that because he's gonna his shorts all wet. And he like basically threw a tantrum and like screamed and then like got like broke out of my grip, ran back to the door just so he could slide down the stairs on his butt. Like he absolutely had to do it. And at the time I'm just like, sorry, but it's like, you're being a bratty kid, stop.
Right.
Like so you're just like, stop, you're being really over dramatic right now. And so like, but that's like a lot of like toddlers. Like you make a toddler, like that's what they call it, a three-nager. It's like three-nager. It's like, so but at the time,
like you can't give them the pink cup when they want the fucking blue cup, right? Like but for him it was more than just it's a blue cup and I wanted a pink cup or I want to go down the stairs on my butt. Like he was genuinely fucking terrified to walk down the stairs. Like he literally couldn't do it. Like he couldn't bring himself to go down the stairs any other way. And that is how he learned to go downstairs safely. So in his brain, that's how you go downstairs. Like you don't walk downstairs. And now knowing that he's autistic, right? And like now getting it ourselves, like you just do things the way you do them. And then when you can't do them that way, it causes anxiety and fear.
And I even remember, like when you were giving him when you were giving him a bath, like when you were filling up the tub, he would do this, like when you're filling up the tub and like, or like when the toilet was being flushed. So it's like,
or he couldn't even be in the bathroom when I turned the tub on.
And
like
I'm at the time, I'm just like, you are being so over dramatic, child. It's so, but the time it's like, oh, I get it now. I get it.
Yeah. That's been his whole life. He's been very dramatic, very dramatic child. But
well, it's kind of like it's
part of it.
Like I've talked like about it before. Like difference between me and Mark. Like Mark, anytime like fireworks, he would do that, and so whereas me, like because Mark is more, and this is a myth later. It's like Mark is more outwardly autistic. Like Mark got diagnosed not necessarily with autism, but at least with ADHD and like later autism. But he got diagnosed junior high, I want to say. Like, I want to say he got diagnosed with ADHD, like, elementary school, and maybe got diagnosed autism in, like, junior high.
Yeah, because I remember when he had already been diagnosed before I met you, because when I met you, you had told me he has Asperger's. So that's what I knew of Mark, was when you introduced me to him, and then you were telling me about him before you introduced me. You're like, oh, he has Asperger's, and I was like, oh, okay,
yeah. And then because like you said, the whole like Nick didn't get diagnosed because he was too good in school, where it's like same for like me. It's like where I told you I had found like my report cards where it's like I wasn't necessarily like misbehaving in school, but I obviously like teachers would note that like Amanda talks too much, or can't sit still, that sort of thing, but I would get really good grades. And so basically the difference between me and Mark is because he did worse in school, and because he did have more like outward tantrums, then it was easier for him to get diagnosed, where my mom gave no indication, and that's not her fault, I'm not blaming her.
Right.
Like, my mom gave absolutely no indication that I could even possibly be ADHD or autistic. Like even like, and it's not like it was a denial thing. She just not even like fathom. It's like, well, she's not like Mark, so she doesn't have those things.
Right.
So that's like the whole, she does good in school. She, stays organized, whatever. So she doesn't need me to get onto her to get stuff done. So she can't possibly be these things. So
right.
That wasn't even a thought that crossed her mind. So that's the whole difference.
Well, no one was looking for it in us in that time. Really, nobody was, unless we were completely nonverbal and, like you said, very noticeably behaving differently than other kids our age, like to the point where we are almost completely nonverbal or physically delayed in very noticeable ways. Like, this actually goes into the next one. You can tell someone is autistic by looking at them. And it's like, not true, obviously. Like, we all are different. There is no look to autism. And all of the the parts of being autistic and the spectrum of being autistic shows up differently for everybody. So that's easily debunkable. Like you literally just explained. And between my two kids, I didn't realize Noah was autistic because he didn't present like Nicholas. So I wasn't looking for autism. I could see the ADHD from a mile away, but I wasn't looking for autism in Noah. But as soon as his teacher was like, no, I'm pretty sure he's autistic. And I was like, oh shit, how did I not fucking notice that? Do you know what I mean? Like, I felt stupid because I already had one kid that was autistic. And at this point, I'd already started to learn about myself and started, thinking maybe possibly I'm autistic. And this was like new into that for me, but I knew I had ADHD at this point. And I was like starting to come around to the fact that I also have autism. And his teacher, I remember the parent teacher conference, she kept like tiptoeing around it. And I was like, oh yeah, I know he has ADHD. We're thinking about getting him medicated next year. He's about to that age. She's like, no, we have to be careful with what we say, but I really think it might be the other A term. And I was like, what? She's like, I can't really say it. I was like, oh, you mean autism? She was like, well, and I think she must have thought I was going to lose my shit or something. And I was like, oh, wow, really? Like, I didn't even think about that. But now that you say that, I think you're right. And she just was like, oh, fuck, she's not going to yell at me. Thank God. And then I'm like, oh, no, like, it's totally fine. Like, you could absolutely tell me if you think he's autistic. Like, I would love to know that if you think that that's the case. Like, it literally never crossed my mind because Nicholas he's one of the only examples I have of autism in day-to-day life, and they don't behave at all in the same way, like whatsoever. And so it didn't fucking cross my mind. So my own fucking kids, one that was already autistic, and it didn't even cross my mind that my youngest was also autistic. That right there should tell you that not every autistic person is the same. When I have two kids in my own household that I am the mother of, one is very obviously autistic, and I missed it because it didn't look like Nicholas. It didn't behave like Nicholas. Yeah, completely fucking missed it. And then when I sat back and thought about everything, I was like, how in the fuck did I miss this? And I'm his mother. So like, it's not that fucking cut and dry. There is no fucking look to this shit, or I would have caught it, right? Like, Noah is, I wouldn't say much more autistic than Nicholas, but Noah had more physical delays, more learning things. He has speech delay. He had everything. And it just never occurred to me.
I just remember you assumed it's because he was premature.
Yeah. Like, and it was because I also assumed it was because of his multiple ear infections when he was little. Like, we just assumed he wasn't actually fully hearing all of the sounds we were making. Therefore, he couldn't form them properly. And so we had no fucking clue. Like, it literally never crossed my fucking mind. Nobody had ever said that word to me prior to his teacher in the second grade. So
it was funny. She's probably had parents like scream at her, and which is why she
did. She told me that.
It's like my aunt and uncle like denied for years that Mark couldn't possibly have like ADHD. They didn't want anything wrong with him. Right. It was my mom that like fought to like get him.
I remember you told me that.
Yeah, like, she's the one that fought to get him like to get in the diagnosis and get him into like the special classes and all that. Where my aunt and uncle were just in denial the entire, like, they did not, especially my uncle. He did not want a special needs child.
Yeah, so I don't understand that. As their mother, like, I understand everyone's probably going to handle this news differently, but I cannot fathom in my brain having someone who obviously cares enough about your child to try to bring this up to you in a delicate manner. How would you as a parent not want to know that someone's noticing these things in your kid? And even if they're wrong, not want to check it out and just see. Because
it's all parents, like, especially, I'm not saying like parents these days, it's like they don't want their precious little baby angel to
right.
be absolutely anything other than perfect.
Well,
So
and so
that's
many parents are like terrified of the label for their kid. And I understand that a lot of times these labels do mean negative things. I'm not going to sugarcoat that shit. However, we've also discussed before on the show that these labels are life changing in the best ways for this community because the label and the diagnosis opens you up for life changing support. Like it's night and day in my household since their ADHD diagnosis and their autism diagnosis and getting them into occupational therapy and getting them medication that helps their ADHD night and fucking day in my home. Okay. We don't have screaming matches anymore. We can actually connect with each other as a family. And a lot of that was me. Me being medicated is night and day in this house. On days, very rarely, when they are not medicated for whatever reason, I can handle them so much better because A, I have an understanding of why they're behaving the way they're behaving. And B, I'm regulated, right? Like I can handle it. And I just do not fucking cannot fathom why, as a parent, you would not want to have every fucking avenue explored to help your child succeed in the best way possible for them. I just can't fucking fathom it. Especially if a lot of this stuff, which I mean, and I know like insurance is a thing and not everybody has access to services and I get it. I get it. But like I just don't understand why you wouldn't want to at least explore that. Do you know what I mean? Like
right.
I don't know. I don't know.
And also like the whole, just because your child gets diagnosed with ADHD or autism doesn't mean everyone else has to know about it. It's not like
Correct.
they announce it in morning announcements at school. Like,
Right.
by the way,
It's
little
up to
Johnny
you
was
how you handle that
diagnosed
as a
like
parent, but
little Johnny was diagnosed with ADHD today, so better treat
right.
him different. Better treat him different, children. So it's not like a lot of kids like probably had issues, like not issues, but like had like diagnoses and stuff that we had no fucking idea about because like
Right.
that's not our fucking business. So the whole like, why don't my child have a label? Your child's gonna have a label anyway, no matter what. Like there's labels for everything, like whether they're a band kid, whether they're like a mathlete, that those are all fucking labels. Like
Yeah, or they could be labeled as the troublemaker or the
the
disruption
class
or the
clown,
annoying
it's
kid or
like
the whatever, all because their brain is desperately fucking craving dopamine and they have to get it from somewhere. And if you give it to them chemically in the form of a pill, they can get through their fucking school day. And maybe they wouldn't have the fucking label of the annoying, interrupting, disruptive, kid in class that nobody fucking likes because they're always acting a fool. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
mm-hmm.
know, medication's not for everybody. I get it. But like, maybe little Johnny might benefit from some help in the form of some chemically induced dopamine. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's just possible because my children absolutely did. And a lot of children do. And I'm not saying again, it's for everybody because it's not for everybody. There's a lot of people that medication has never worked for and is never going to work for. It's just how the human body works with some people. Some people do not metabolize it properly and it does not help them. I get it. But for a lot of people, it does help. And you don't know unless you try. So,
And this kind of like leads into the whole like being labeled as like the problem child. This kind of leads into the next myth. It said the myth is autistic people like to be on their own. They're antisocial. This is misleading. This may be true of some autistic people, but it's certainly not true of all. Just like some non-autistic people love socializing, whereas others would prefer a quiet night in with a book. Some autistic people can find socializing more tiring than non-autistic people if they feel the need to suppress their autism to blend in. Where this is the case, it can take some autists time to recover their energy after socializing, but they're not being antisocial. If anything, they're actively making an effort to socialize. So, like the whole, like either being like the ADHD thing, like being the problem child, of being the rambunctious one, where the autistic one, it's like, oh, they're the quiet little emo kid in the corner
Right.
being weird.
Or like we just talked about. I mean, we literally just spent a bunch of time with family outside of our own element. And while we enjoyed ourselves, it literally stole so much time from us, like so much energy, and we needed time to recover. Like there
Where
was a
like
tax to be paid for that time
where like
spent.
my favorite time, my favorite part of me going like on my trip was my aunt and her foster sister, the one she grew up in foster care. They we went on like a 3 mile walk. Like we literally just walked, like she lives out in the country. So we
Oh,
literally just walked. We're like, oh, let's walk to the bridge. And it's like, oh, let's walk to like the church around the corner or whatever. And then we just kind of like sat like the small church had like a small graveyard behind it, and it had like a seating area behind that. We kind of just like sat and like talked, and then
yeah.
but we were away from like all the other people, and then and I like walking, I like hiking, so
Yeah.
they're both extroverted enough that they were able to just like talk amongst themselves with me occasionally like chiming in with everything.
Oh,
But
that's perfect
so
for you.
yes, I was like, and I tell people like, oh, you're always like, you're so quiet and everything. It's like, I like listening to people talk. Like, I like
Yeah.
listening to conversations. And if I have something to say, I'll say it, but I don't need to contribute to every conversation. I don't need to input everything. Like, if I have a thought, I'll voice it. But so that was probably like my favorite part of the trip is just we just walked for like, just walked, meandered around the countryside for like an hour and a half. So
Yeah. And
that's
that
sort of
was your version
that
of
sort of thing.
socializing.
Mm-hmm. Where I didn't have to be around 40 other people I didn't know.
Right.
So
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I'm with you on that. I actually am a lot more extroverted than you are. And but again, like while I enjoy my little bits of extrovert time, I pay dearly for that later. Like this little excursion I took where I had to people for a long period of time and sleep in a bed that wasn't mine and hang out with, granted it was family, but it's taxing to me. It took so much out of me. I was so done. I just wanted to lay in my bed for like 4 days straight. Like I literally wanted nothing from life other than my bed. And I needed it. Like I needed to be nowhere and do nothing. And it
That
was
that
glorious.
that was me yesterday. That was me yesterday.
Yeah.
So
I
I
needed
get it.
zero expectations from my life. And it needed to happen. So I was very grateful that I had PTO time built in after this trip because I fucking needed it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, moving on
So I
to the
wonder
next
if
one.
we want to kind of, it's been over an hour and we are only like halfway through these. I didn't know there's so many on here.
Yeah.
Halfway through these. I don't know if we want to do like a part B of part two.
Yeah,
Part
we can.
2.2b.
Yeah, we totally can. I figured the myths one was gonna be a
Yeah,
meaty boy.
that's why I messaged you and I was like, the myths might bleed into the next one that we go into, so because
Yeah.
there's a lot. I was scrolling, I'm like, oh, there's like 7 more right here.
Yeah, there's a lot more. And I feel like we could kind of weigh in on each one of them. So I think
Mm-hmm.
you're right. I think we should continue the myths for sure next week because I am starting to get to that point where I'm getting kind of tired. And
Mm-hmm.
I do need to get to some sort of normal bedtime tonight because I literally ran myself ragged today. I was so fucking sweaty at work, like so sweaty,
Mm-hmm.
just running around like crazy. We had another sale and
Mm-hmm.
we did so much shit today. Like I literally didn't stop moving from the second I fucking walked in there until 30 minutes before I fucking left. I got there at 8:30, left at 5. So I was happy to
Yeah.
sit for all of 20 minutes for a lunch. So
Yeah, we have like completely different types of jobs, but like normally, granted, I had to catch up on stuff from being gone, but
mm,
like something that would normally take me like 15 minutes took me like an hour and a half today. And it's because like everything was going wrong. So
Yeah.
today was just like a long day as well.
And I'm unmedicated, not of my own fault, because the fucking pharmacy is out of my medication and has been for like days. So I'm waiting for them to get a shipment of my medication. So I've been unmedicated for the past 3 days. So that I'm struggling a little bit. So
I feel that.
So yeah, but I think we are going to wrap it up for today. We will be back next week with part B of part 2. Part 3, myths continued. We'll call it that.
Yeah. To be or not to be.
Yeah, to be or not to be. You can find us here, obviously, and everywhere socials are platformed. And I do mean everywhere. Like, we are a little bit of everywhere. Not live everywhere, but like literally the handle is at the NDC podcast everywhere. We managed to snag it on every fucking social media platform, even the ones we don't really post on, like X, which I can't say. My mouth hurts when I say that. It's Twitter, okay? It's fucking Twitter. What is wrong with you, Elon Musk? Why did you change the name? Not a smart business move. Change it back.
I mean, you saw what he named his children's or his child or how many he has now. They're fucking
10.
stupid.
He has 10 of them. I'm not kidding. I think there's at least 10. We should Google that to be sure. But I know there are several many.
I think there's two children maybe, but I don't know.
There's more than 2 because we Googled it the other day at work. There's way more than 2. I don't know if it's exactly 10, but there's way more than 2 kids. I have to Google it now. We're going to find out.
He has Amanda. 11 children? He has 11 children.
Yeah, I told you.
I only knew about Grimes. Oh my God.
Yeah, I told you. He has like 10. Because you want to know why he did that? You want to know why he did that? Couple reasons. But did you know? Because fucking Nick Cannon did this shit too. Did you know that after 10 kids, like when you hit 10 kids, no matter how much money you make, you do not have to pay child support for those kids? Did you know that?
I mean, if you have no kids, you have no child support to pay, but okay.
Correct. But so you can have 1 kid or 9 kids. You'll pay child support based on the amount of kids you have, right? However, as soon as you hit 10 kids, you don't owe not a single baby mama a fucking dime. Not even the baby mama that you knocked up first that you've been paying. All that fucking child support stops after 10 kids and they like, get not another fucking dime. And he's worth the richest millions.
Yeah, it's like with his stupid family emerald mine or diamond mine, whatever it is.
Elon Musk is worth billions. Nick Cannon's worth millions. And none of these motherfuckers are required by law to pay fucking child support. Can you believe that shit? That is America, folks. Not a goddamn dime is owed to any of these baby mamas they knocked up.
What about South Africa thing too? Because he's from South Africa, isn't he?
I don't know. But all them baby mamas got knocked up around here, I think. Most of them did anyway. So who fucking knows? But anyway, we're way off topic.
Wow.
Way off topic. We squirreled hard on that one. Okay. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Smash that like button. Hit that bell icon so you never miss an upload from us. If you're listening on Spotify, please leave us a rating and a review. It really helps the show. We're actively working to figure out why the fuck we are not on Apple Podcasts. I have been saying we're on Apple Podcasts this whole goddamn time. We are not. It's a fucking lie. And I can't get Apple Podcasts Connect to fix it. So, fuck. Somebody help me. I don't know how to fix this. Something's broken and we need to fix it. So we got to figure out how to get on Apple so more people can hear this shit. Because not everybody listens on Spotify. Okay? But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We love you. Come on back next week for part 3, Myths Continued. I love you, Amanda.
I love her too. Okay, bye.
And we will see you next week. Okay, bye.